The night sky was black, heavy with clouds that seemed ready to fall on the earth. Thunder roared again and again, and each flash of lightning cut through the darkness like a sharp knife. The rain came down in sheets, hitting the road so hard that even the strongest driver could lose control. Inside his old truck, Daniel gripped the steering wheel tighter. His wipers worked furiously, but the windshield was almost blind. Water slapped against the glass and the tires slid on the wet asphalt. He whispered to himself, "Just 10 more miles, then home." But even his own voice sounded small in the storm. The road ahead twisted like a black snake. The trees on both sides bent and shook as if they wanted to run away from the wind. Daniel's headlights cut only a few feet forward. Beyond that, everything was darkness. He leaned forward, eyes narrow, fighting both the storm and his own rising fear. Then out of nowhere, a figure appeared, a shadow in the middle of the road, small but clear against the white flash of lightning. Daniel slammed his foot on the brakes. The truck skidded sideways, the tires screamed. The horn blared as his chest hit the wheel, and the heavy vehicle slid across the wet surface, before finally stopping only inches away from the figure. Breathing hard, Daniel blinked rain and sweat from his eyes. "What the hell?" he whispered. His heart pounded so loud it almost drowned out the storm. The figure moved, stumbling toward the hood of his truck. The next lightning strike revealed her face. For a second, Daniel thought his eyes were lying to him. The girl standing there was not human. Her skin was pale but with a faint glow, almost like moonlight pressed under the surface. Her hair was tangled and wet, sticking to her cheeks, and her wide eyes shone bright like silver coins. Daniel froze. His brain screamed to lock the doors and drive away, but his hands refused to move. She looked half dead, clothes torn, water dripping from every inch of her. She pressed her hands on the truck's hood as if begging for it to hold her up. Her lips trembled, and then she spoke in a broken, soft voice, "Please. Shelter!" The word hit Daniel like a punch. The storm howled louder, but he could not pull his eyes away from her. She staggered to the passenger door, hands shaking, and tried to pull it open. Rainwater ran down her arms. She looked at him through the glass with eyes that were full of fear. Daniel hesitated. Every survival instinct told him this was wrong. A stranger, not even human, asking to come inside his truck in the middle of a deadly storm. But those eyes, they did not lie. They were desperate begging, and drowning in fear, his hand moved almost without his will. He leaned across and unlocked the door. The handle clicked and the girl collapsed inside, bringing a flood of rainwater with her. She shivered hard, hugging herself, curling into the seat like a wounded animal. "Who are you?" Daniel asked, his voice low, his throat was dry. His hands still trembled on the steering wheel. She turned her head slowly, silver eyes locking on him. Her lips moved, but only a whisper came out. "Don't send me back." The storm outside raged like a monster trying to crush the truck. Thunder slammed across the sky. Lightning flashed so bright that the cabin lit up like daylight for 1 second. Daniel saw her clearly then. Her arms marked with strange lines glowing faintly under her skin. Her breathing fast, her whole body shaking not only from cold but from terror. Daniel felt something shift in his chest. The fear was still there, but it mixed with something else, responsibility. He could not throw her back into the storm. Whatever she was, whoever she was running from, she needed help. He reached into the back seat, grabbed an old army blanket, and threw it over her shoulders. She clutched it instantly, her thin fingers gripping as if it was the last lifeline she had. The rain hammered harder, and Daniel knew they couldn't stay parked on the road. He started the engine again. The truck shuddered forward. The headlights carved through the storm. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He glanced at her again. Her head rested against the glass, her silver eyes still open, watching the rain with quiet horror. She whispered something again, too low for him to catch. He leaned slightly closer. "What did you say?" Her lips parted, her voice broke like glass. "They will find me." Daniel's stomach turned cold. He looked back at the endless storm, the road vanishing ahead, and the strange alien girl shivering beside him. His mind raced with questions, but only one thought burned clear. Whatever had thrown her in front of his truck tonight, it was only the beginning. The thunder roared again, and the truck pushed deeper into the storm, carrying both a human man and an alien girl whose secret was about to change everything. The truck rumbled through the storm, rain hammering the roof like iron nails. Daniel's hands stayed locked on the wheel, but his eyes kept stealing quick glances at the strange passenger curled in the seat beside him. She was wrapped in his old blanket, but her thin frame still shook as if the storm had sunk into her very bones. Every few seconds, lightning lit her face, and each time Daniel was reminded this was no human girl. Her skin glowed faintly beneath the wet hair, a pale shimmer that no reflection or trick of light could explain. The lines running down her arms pulsed faintly. Like veins of silver light, it was both beautiful and terrifying. Daniel cleared his throat. "You okay?" The words felt small and useless in the roar of thunder. She turned her head, eyes half-lidded but still sharp. Her lips trembled before she whispered, "Safe. Here." Daniel didn't answer right away. He had no idea how to promise safety, not when his own chest was still tight with fear. Instead, he gave a short nod. "Safer than outside," he muttered. The girl shivered harder, pulling the blanket tighter. Her silver eyes darted toward the window, staring out into the rain as if expecting something to leap from the darkness. "They follow," she murmured, voice broken. "They do not stop," Daniel frowned, his grip tightening. "Who? Who's following you?" She pressed her lips together, silent. Her fingers twisted the edge of the blanket. "Knuckles white, finally," she whispered. "Hunters." The word hung heavy between them. Daniel felt the hair on his arms rise. He wanted to laugh it off, tell himself she was crazy, but one look at those desperate eyes told him it wasn't madness. It was truth. He swallowed, forcing his attention back to the road. The wipers screeched across the glass, fighting against the flood of water. His headlights cut through the storm in thin beams, but the world beyond remained black and endless. Minutes crawled by. The silence inside the truck was heavy. Broken only by the storm outside, Daniel wanted answers, but each question stuck in his throat. How could he ask what planet she came from? How could he even believe it? Finally, he said quietly, "What's your name?" She blinked, turning to him slowly. For a moment, she seemed confused, as if the question itself was strange. "Name, Lyra?" she whispered at last. "Lyra," Daniel repeated under his breath. The sound of it was soft, alien, but it grounded her in his mind. She was no longer just a strange creature. She was someone. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, and Daniel thought she might have fallen asleep. But then she spoke again, voice sharp with fear. "You should not help me," Daniel frowned. "Why?" "They will hurt you too," she said, trembling. "If you keep me, they will not forgive." A shiver ran down Daniel's spine. He glanced in the rearview mirror, but the road was empty. Just rain and shadows stretching forever. Still, her words stuck like claws in his mind. Who were they? What kind of enemy hunted a girl like her through storms on Earth? "You think I should have left you out there to die?" Daniel asked, his voice harsher than he meant. Lyra's eyes widened. She shook her head quickly, her wet hair flinging droplets across the cabin. "No, no," she whispered. "Storm kills. Alone I die." Her gaze softened, almost breaking. "But with you, you die too for the first time." Daniel saw something other than fear in her eyes. It was guilt, heavy and crushing. She wasn't just scared for herself. She was scared for him. Daniel looked back to the road, jaw tight. "Well, guess we'll just have to see who dies first," he muttered, trying to sound braver than he felt. The truck rolled on, wheels splashing through rivers of water. Thunder cracked so loud the truck shook. Lyra flinched at each sound, shrinking deeper into the blanket. Then, in the middle of the storm, Daniel noticed something strange. A faint hum, low and metallic, not from the truck, not from the storm. His eyes narrowed. He turned down the radio that wasn't even on. The sound didn't stop. "What's that?" he asked. Lyra's head jerked up. Her silver eyes widened in pure terror. "They," she whispered. "They are near." Daniel's heart dropped. He leaned forward, peering into the storm. And then he saw it, a red light flickering through the rain. Not from the sky, not from any car. It moved smoothly, gliding above the road, following them. Lyra clutched his arm suddenly, her cold fingers like ice. "Don't stop," she begged. "Don't ever stop." Daniel's foot pressed harder on the gas. The engine growled as the truck lurched forward. He didn't know who or what was chasing them, but he knew one thing for certain. The girl in his passenger seat was not lying. The hum grew louder. Shadows moved in the rain, and Daniel realized with dread this storm was no longer his biggest problem. The storm still raged outside, but Daniel pushed the truck as far as he could down the muddy back roads. The red light that had chased them was gone for now, maybe swallowed by the rain, maybe waiting just beyond the trees. His farmhouse sat alone at the edge of the woods, old and quiet, a place no one visited except him. The truck groaned as it pulled into the gravel drive. The rain came down harder, hammering on the roof. Daniel parked near the barn, killed the engine, and let the silence of the storm's roar press down on him. Beside him, Lyra sat stiff, clutching the blanket so tight her knuckles were white. "We're here," Daniel said quietly. His voice was rough, but he tried to sound steady. She blinked at him, silver eyes reflecting the faint glow from the dashboard. "Safe?" she asked again, almost like a child asking for comfort. Daniel looked out the window at the dark trees shaking in the storm. He wanted to promise, but his gut told him safety was a lie. Still, he nodded. As safe as we can be, they both stepped out into the storm. The cold rain hit them like ice. Lyra stumbled, her body weak from exhaustion. Daniel quickly moved to her side, his hand under her arm to keep her standing. She felt light, too light, as if the storm could carry her away if he let go. They rushed into the farmhouse, Daniel unlocking the door with shaking fingers. The inside smelled of wood and dust, warm compared to the storm. The lights flickered when he turned the switch, but they stayed on. Lyra stood in the middle of the room, dripping water onto the floor. Her silver eyes darted around like a hunted animal, searching every shadow. She didn't sit, didn't relax. The blanket hung off her shoulders, soaked through but still clutched tightly. "You can sit," Daniel said, motioning to the old couch. "No one's here but me." For a moment she didn't move, then finally lowered herself slowly onto the couch. Her body trembled as if she was fighting both cold and fear. Daniel went into the kitchen, pulling out whatever he could find. Canned soup, bread, a bottle of water. He heated the soup on the stove, the smell filling the room when he brought it over. Lyra looked at it with confusion. "It's food," Daniel explained, holding out the bowl. "Eat." She stared at the steam rising from the soup. Her fingers hesitated, then she took the bowl. She lifted it close to her lips but only sniffed. After a moment she shook her head and placed it down. "Not for me," she whispered. Daniel frowned. "Not for you? You don't eat this?" Lyra shook her head again, clutching at the strange crystal necklace hanging against her chest. It pulsed faintly with light as if answering her touch. "This keeps me alive," she said softly. "Your food is empty." Daniel leaned back, watching her. The necklace was not jewelry. It was something else. He didn't understand it, but he didn't push her. She was shaking too much already. He sat in the chair across from her, his eyes heavy but his mind racing. "So, Lyra, who are you running from?" he asked, her silver eyes lifted to him. Sharp and pained, for a long time she said nothing. The storm outside beat against the windows, wind howling like voices in the night. Finally, she whispered, "Hunters, the ones with the lights?" Daniel asked. She nodded slowly. "They track me. Always they will come." Daniel clenched his jaw. His hands tightened around the arms of the chair. He wanted to tell her she was safe here, but he couldn't lie. He had seen the red light, heard the hum. He knew they would come. "You're not alone anymore," Daniel said instead, his voice steady this time. "If they come here, they'll have to go through me." Her eyes widened. Her lips trembled. For a moment it looked like she would cry, but instead she whispered, "Why?" "You don't know me," Daniel shrugged. "Doesn't matter. You needed help for the first time." Her face softened, her silver eyes lowered, her hands clutching the blanket tighter. She whispered something in a language he didn't know, the words like soft music. Then she closed her eyes, exhaustion finally pulling her down. Within minutes she was asleep on the couch, curled like a child. The faint glow of her skin and necklace painted the dark room with a ghostly light. Daniel stayed awake, listening to the storm. Every creak of the house, every shake of the window made his muscles tense. He kept his shotgun leaned against the wall, eyes fixed on the door. Then, deep into the night, as the thunder rolled away and the storm began to quiet, Daniel heard something else, a sound that didn't belong to the storm. Footsteps, slow and heavy, crunching against the wet gravel outside. His breath caught. He reached for the shotgun. The sound grew louder, closer, stopping just outside the window. Daniel froze, his finger on the trigger, heart hammering in his chest. He turned his head slightly toward the couch. Lyra was still asleep. Glowing faintly under the blanket, unaware, the footsteps stopped. Silence pressed down, then came a faint metallic hum. Vibrating through the walls, Daniel's blood ran cold. He knew then that Lyra was right. Whatever hunted her had found them. And the night of shelter was only the beginning. The farmhouse stood silent, surrounded by the dying storm. The rain had slowed, but the wind still hissed through the trees like a warning. Inside, Daniel sat stiff in his chair, shotgun resting across his lap. His eyes were locked on the window. The footsteps had stopped, but the sound of the metallic hum lingered, low and steady. It crawled under his skin, a sound no storm could make. Lyra slept on the couch, her face soft and calm. Her glowing necklace pulsed faintly with each breath. Daniel felt a surge of unease. What if that glow was a beacon drawing the hunters right to them? He forced himself to stand. His boots made no sound on the wooden floor. He crept closer to the window, pulling the curtain just enough to peek outside. For a moment he saw nothing but darkness, the muddy drive glistening under weak lightning. Then movement. A tall figure stood near the barn, its outline barely visible. It wasn't human, too long, too thin. Its head turned sharply and red eyes flashed in the dark. Daniel's stomach twisted. He pulled back instantly, heart pounding. His shotgun felt heavier in his hands. He whispered to himself, "What the hell are you monsters?" Behind him, Lyra stirred. Her silver eyes snapped open as if she felt it in her bones. She sat up quickly, clutching her necklace. The glow grew brighter. "They are here," she whispered. Voice shaking, Daniel turned to her. "No kidding," he muttered, but his voice was tight. Suddenly a knock, loud, sharp, metallic, echoed from the door. The sound froze him in place. Another knock, harder this time. The door rattled on its hinges. Daniel aimed the shotgun at the door. His voice was low but steady. "Stay behind me," but Lyra shook her head, her silver eyes full of panic. "Guns won't stop them." "You don't understand." The knocking stopped. Silence. Daniel's finger hovered on the trigger, sweat sliding down his forehead. Then came a scraping sound along the wall. Like claws dragging across wood, it circled the house slowly. Scratching every window, Lyra gasped, clutching her necklace tighter. "They are testing. They want fear." Daniel gritted his teeth. "Well, they picked the wrong house," he whispered. Though the tremor in his hands betrayed him, the hum grew louder, vibrating through the floor. The lights flickered, one bulb in the corner buzzing before it burst. Showering glass on the floor, Lyra flinched, her glow pulsing brighter. Daniel pulled her closer to him, keeping his shotgun pointed at the window. Outside, he saw the shadow move again. Another pair of glowing red eyes appearing next to the first. Then another, 3 figures now circling. "They're surrounding us," Daniel muttered. Lyra's breathing quickened. She leaned close and whispered, "They don't want me dead, they want me alive, but you..." She swallowed hard. "You will not survive." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Like hell I won't." He turned back toward the door, every muscle tense, then bang. The back door rattled, wood splintered. Something slammed against it from outside. Daniel swung the shotgun around, aiming at the noise. Lyra screamed softly, "No! They're only distracting." Before he could react, the front window shattered. A long, clawed hand reached through, snapping the frame. Daniel fired. The shotgun blast roared, shattering the silence. The figure outside staggered back with a shriek. Not of pain, but anger. Daniel pumped the gun, smoke filling the room. His heart thundered. "Guess they bleed after all," he muttered. But Lyra shook her head. "You don't understand. That only slows them, not enough." Her necklace flared, filling the room with silver light. The glow spread across her skin, illuminating strange patterns etched into her arms and face. Daniel stepped back, staring in shock. "What the hell are you?" She looked at him, her voice breaking. I am the reason they came." The glow expanded suddenly, forming a faint shield around the window. The next creature slammed into it, sparks of silver light scattering. The shield held for only a moment before flickering weakly. Lyra collapsed to her knees, clutching her chest, the glow dimming. "I can't hold it long," she gasped. Daniel grabbed her arm and pulled her up. "Then we don't stay here. We move." He dragged her toward the back of the house. Shotgun ready outside, shadows moved along the walls. The red eyes tracked them through the glass. At the back door, Daniel kicked it open. The storm had weakened, but rain still fell in sheets. The barn loomed nearby, dark and wide. "We'll hide there," he said quickly. Lyra shook her head. "You don't run from them. You outsmart them." "Well, you better have a plan." "Because I'm all out of clever ideas," Daniel snapped. Behind them, glass shattered again. The creatures were breaking in. Daniel pulled Lyra into the rain. His boots splashed mud as they stumbled toward the barn. The hum behind them grew louder, sharper, like an alarm. The hunters had them in their sights. Daniel tightened his grip on the shotgun, his other hand holding Lyra close. The barn door loomed ahead like the mouth of some waiting beast. He shoved it open, dragging her inside, slamming it shut. Darkness swallowed them, broken only by Lyra's faint glow. Her silver eyes locked on his. "You should not have opened the truck door," she whispered. Tears sliding down her glowing cheeks. Daniel steadied his breath, raising the shotgun. Too late for that now. Outside, the red eyes gathered, dozens this time, glowing through the rain like burning coals. The storm was ending, but the real battle had just begun. The barn smelled of old wood, rust, and damp hay. The heavy door shook as the storm winds pushed against it, but it was not the wind that made Daniel's hands tighten around his shotgun. It was the shadows outside, dozens of glowing red eyes floating in the dark rain, circling like wolves ready to strike. Lyra stood close, her faint glow lighting the edges of the barn. Her breath came fast, each inhale sharp with panic. "We can't stay here," she whispered. "They will tear it apart." Daniel gritted his teeth. He scanned the barn quickly, looking for any path out. His eyes landed on the back wall where an old service door leaned half-broken. "Then we don't stay, we move," he said firmly. The barn door rattled again. A clawed hand slipped through the gap. Dragging sharp lines into the wood, Daniel raised the shotgun and fired. The blast echoed through the barn, splinters flying. The hand jerked back with a shriek, but more shadows pressed forward, pounding the walls. "Go!" Daniel barked, grabbing Lyra's arm. He pulled her across the barn, their boots crunching over hay and broken tools. They reached the small door. Daniel kicked it hard. The rotten wood cracked open, revealing the stormy night outside. The two stumbled into the rain, Daniel dragging her toward the truck parked in the drive. But the hunters were already moving, their tall, thin bodies slithered out of the shadows. Glowing eyes locked on them. The metallic hum grew louder, pulsing in Daniel's chest like a second heartbeat. "Run!" he shouted. Lyra clutched her glowing necklace tight. Her silver light flickered brighter as she sprinted beside him. They splashed through the mud, the storm water soaking their clothes. The creatures followed fast, faster than any human could run. Daniel yanked the truck door open and shoved Lyra inside. He jumped behind the wheel, turning the key with shaking hands. The engine coughed once, then roared alive. Tires spun in the mud before gripping the gravel. The truck lurched forward, headlights slicing through the rain. Behind them, the hunters shrieked, the sound like broken metal grinding. Their glowing eyes swarmed closer. Daniel floored the gas. The truck fishtailed but surged ahead, throwing mud into the night. "Faster!" Lyra begged, her voice trembling. Her silver eyes darted to the rear window. The red lights followed in the storm, floating above the ground. Hovercrafts, machines unlike anything Daniel had ever seen, slid through the rain with eerie grace. "They're flying," Daniel muttered, sweat dripping down his face. He gripped the wheel tighter. "Damn it, they're flying!" The hum grew so loud the truck rattled. Lyra leaned forward, clutching her necklace. "Left!" she cried suddenly. "Turn left into the forest." Daniel didn't question. He yanked the wheel. The truck skidded, crashing through wet underbrush, branches snapping against the hood. Mud splashed high. The headlights cut through dense trees. The hunters followed, their red eyes weaving between the trees, hovercrafts buzzing like angry hornets. Daniel dodged fallen logs, his teeth clenched. Every turn threatened to flip the truck, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. Lyra's glow flared, casting silver light through the cabin. She pressed her hand against the dashboard. Her strange markings lit brighter. Daniel glanced at her. "What the hell are you doing?" "Shield," she whispered, "short." "But enough." A hum answered her glow, and suddenly a faint bubble of silver light spread around the truck. One of the hunter's blasts of red energy slammed against it. The shield sparked, shaking the truck, but held. Daniel let out a breath. "Well, I'll be damned," but Lyra was pale, sweat pouring down her face. "I can't hold long," she said weakly. Her necklace dimmed with each pulse. Another blast struck. The shield flickered. Daniel swerved hard. The truck bouncing over roots, the hunters screamed, their sound carrying even above the storm. "Hold on," Daniel shouted. He spotted a steep hill ahead. The ground dropped sharply into a ravine. He pushed the gas harder, the truck roaring as it sped toward the edge. "You're mad," Lyra cried, her silver eyes wide with fear. "Maybe," Daniel growled. "But it's the only way." The truck hit the edge and launched, crashing down the slope. Mud and water sprayed as the tires hit the bottom. Daniel fought the wheel, his body slamming against the seatbelt. The truck groaned but kept moving. Above them, the hunters hesitated, their hovercrafts hovering near the edge. For a moment, Daniel thought they had escaped. Then the red eyes tilted downward. The machines diving into the ravine after them, damn it. Daniel cursed. Lyra pressed her forehead to the glass, her voice breaking. They never stop. Never. Daniel's jaw set, his knuckles white on the wheel. Then neither do I, he said through gritted teeth. The truck raced through the ravine, trees whipping past, water splashing high. Behind them, the red eyes closed in again, the metallic hum rising like a scream. Lyra's necklace glowed one last time, faint but steady. She looked at Daniel, her voice barely more than a whisper. There is one place. One safe place, but you won't like it. Daniel's eyes stayed on the road. His teeth clenched. Then tell me fast. Because we're out of road. The storm roared above them, the hunters shrieked behind, and the human and the alien girl hurtled toward a choice that could save them, or doom them both. The truck tore through the ravine, tires splashing through water and mud. Daniel's hands were tight on the wheel. His heart hammered like a drum. Behind them, the hunters' red eyes glowed brighter, weaving between the trees. Hovercrafts buzzed like angry bees. Beside him, Lyra leaned weakly against the seat, her glow dimming. The crystal necklace on her chest flickered like a dying candle. We can't run forever, she whispered, her voice trembling. Daniel shot her a quick glance. Then tell me where to go. You said there's a safe place. Her silver eyes locked on him, full of fear and something deeper, regret. It is not safe for you, she said softly. If you take me there, you will be marked too, Daniel growled, swerving around a fallen tree. I don't care about marks. I care about staying alive. The truck bounced hard over rocks. Lyra gripped the dashboard. Her voice cracked. No, Daniel, you don't understand. If you help me, they will see you as part of me, and that means they will hunt you. Until death. Daniel's jaw tightened. He felt the weight of her words, but his eyes stayed on the road. Maybe you don't understand. I'm already hunted. They came to my house. They broke my window. That means I'm in this whether I like it or not. Lyra's lips trembled. For the first time since he'd met her, she looked less like a glowing alien fugitive and more like a scared girl. Her eyes shone wet. You should have left me in the storm, she whispered. Daniel snapped his eyes toward her, anger burning under his fear. What kind of man leaves someone to die in the road? Not me. His voice dropped, softer but firm. So stop saying that. The words hit her like a blow. Her breath hitched, and for a moment, silence filled the truck. Then she spoke, her voice breaking. I am not what you think. Daniel? Daniel frowned. Then what are you? Her hands trembled as she lifted the crystal necklace. The glow spread across her chest, spilling into the cabin. The silver light revealed markings across her skin, lines and shapes etched into her flesh like living tattoos. They pulsed with each heartbeat. Daniel's throat went dry. What the hell? Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. I am not just a refugee. I am... Ere my people's bloodline carries power. Power the hunters crave. They want me alive because if they control me, they control worlds. The truck jolted as Daniel swerved around another fallen branch, his eyes wide. You're telling me you're some kind of alien princess? She shook her head weakly. Not princess. Worse, my blood is a weapon. It can bend, it can break. It is why they will never stop. Daniel stared at her glowing skin, the strange patterns alive with energy. The storm outside seemed to fade compared to the storm in his chest, so... They're not just chasing you, they're chasing what you are. Her silver eyes filled with tears. Yes, and now you are with me. You share my mark. You cannot undo it. Daniel blinked. What mark? Her trembling hand reached out, touching his wrist. The moment her fingers brushed his skin, silver light spread like fire. A faint pattern appeared under his flesh. Glowing faintly before fading, Daniel jerked back in shock. What the hell did you just do to me? Lyra's voice broke. It is not choice. It happens when you stay near me, when you fight for me. The mark accepts you. It means you are bound to me. Daniel stared at his wrist, then at her, anger and fear colliding in his chest. Bound? You mean now they're going to hunt me too? Tears slid down her glowing cheeks. Yes, she whispered. You should hate me. Daniel slammed the brakes. The truck skidded to a halt in the mud. His breath came fast. He turned to her, voice sharp. Listen to me. I don't care if you're hunted. I don't care if your blood glows. You asked me for shelter, and I gave it. I don't break my word, Lyra blinked. Stunned, her lips parted, but no sound came out. For a moment, she looked at him as if he was something impossible, something unreal. Then the hum came again, louder, sharper. The red eyes closed in through the trees, hovercrafts weaving like vultures ready to strike. Daniel gripped the wheel again, pressing the gas. You said there's one safe place where? Lyra's silver glow flickered weakly, her voice low. The old dam, east of here, the tunnels below. They are hidden from the hunter's sight. Daniel nodded. Then hold on. The truck roared forward again. Water spraying, Lyra leaned against the seat. Her glow faint but steady. Her eyes lingered on him, soft and filled with something unspoken. You don't even know me, she whispered. Why fight so hard? Daniel's eyes stayed on the stormy road. His voice was low but firm. Because someone has to. The words hit deeper than any shield. Lyra's tears mixed with the glow on her cheeks. For the first time since she had stumbled into his truck, she let herself believe maybe she wasn't alone anymore. But outside the hunters screamed, their glowing eyes burning brighter. The truth was out, the bond was sealed, and there would be no turning back. The truck raced east, its engine screaming as mud and rain sprayed in all directions. Daniel's eyes stayed locked on the narrow road ahead. The storm was breaking now, thunder fading. But the real danger was not the sky, it was behind them. Dozens of glowing red eyes weaving through the night. The hunters closing in beside him. Lyra sat weak and pale, her necklace glowing faintly. Her voice was soft but urgent. The dam, it is close, the tunnels below can hide us, but if they follow inside, we cannot run anymore. Daniel gritted his teeth. Then we don't run, we fight. The massive structure appeared through the trees. The dam towered above the valley like a sleeping giant, concrete walls slick with rain. Daniel skidded the truck to a stop near the service road. The roar of rushing water filled the air. Move, he said, pulling Lyra out of the truck. She stumbled, but he held her steady. They ran toward the dam's base, shadows already gathering at the tree line. The hunters came fast, their long limbs moving with terrifying grace, red eyes burning like fire. Daniel and Lyra reached a rusted service door. Daniel shoved it open with his shoulder. The smell of damp stone and iron filled his lungs as they entered the tunnels beneath the dam. Inside, the air was cold and dripping with water. Darkness stretched in every direction. Only Lyra's faint glow lit their path. Her silver light brushed across old pipes and broken walls. They will come, she whispered, her voice trembling. They always come. Daniel turned to her, shotgun in hand. Then we make this their last hunt. The metallic hum grew louder. Echoing down the tunnels, shadows flickered across the walls, red eyes appearing in the dark. The hunters had found them. Daniel steadied his breath. His finger rested on the trigger. He wasn't a soldier, just a man with an old truck and a stubborn heart, but tonight that had to be enough. Lyra stepped forward, her necklace glowing brighter. The markings across her skin blazed silver, filling the tunnel with light. She raised her trembling hands, a faint shield sparking in the air. Daniel looked at her. How long can you hold it? Her voice broke. Not long, but with your fire and my light. Maybe enough, the first hunter charged. Claws scraping against the concrete, Daniel fired, the shotgun blast echoing like thunder. The creature shrieked and staggered back. Lyra's shield flared, blocking another strike from the side. More hunters poured in, their voices sharp and inhuman. Daniel pumped the shotgun, firing again and again. Each shot slowed them, but never stopped them. He cursed under his breath, sweat dripping into his eyes. Lyra cried out, the shield flickering. Sparks danced as claws raked against it. Her knees buckled. Daniel dropped to her side, pulling her close with one arm while firing with the other. You're not dying here, he growled. Her silver eyes glistened with tears. Then neither are you, the necklace flared suddenly. Brighter than ever before, a surge of energy rushed through the tunnel, knocking the hunters back. The walls shook, water dripping harder from the ceiling. The dam groaned like it might break. Daniel stared at her in shock. What did you just do? Her voice was weak but steady. I gave the bond everything, your mark. It connects us. You are part of my power now. Daniel looked down at his wrist. The faint silver glow spread again beneath his skin. For the first time he felt it. A strange strength. A heat running through his veins. His hands no longer shook. His fear dulled into something sharper. Resolve. He stood tall, shotgun raised, his voice echoing. You want her? You'll go through me. The hunters shrieked and rushed. Daniel fired again, but this time the blast carried more than bullets. Silver light exploded with each shot, tearing through the shadows. The hunters staggered, their red eyes flickering. Lyra forced herself to her feet. Standing beside him, her glow merged with his fire. Together they filled the tunnel with blinding light and thunder. The hunters faltered, their hum breaking into static. One by one they stumbled back, shrieking. The light burned them, cracked them, until the tunnel was littered with broken shadows. Their red eyes fading into darkness. Finally, silence. Only the sound of rushing water and Daniel's heavy breathing remained. He lowered the shotgun slowly. His chest heaving beside him, Lyra collapsed, but he caught her before she hit the ground. Her glow dimmed, her voice soft. "We survived." Daniel looked down at her, his face rough but his eyes soft. "No, we won." She blinked at him, silver eyes wet. "Why? Why risk all for me?" Daniel gave a tired smile. "Because when a storm throws someone into your life, you don't push them back out, you hold on." Tears slid down her cheeks. Glowing faintly, she leaned her head against his chest, whispering, "On my world, storm means death. But on Earth, you gave it new meaning." Outside, the sky finally cleared. The storm was over. But deep in the tunnels of the dam, something new had begun. An unbreakable bond between a human and an alien girl, forged in fire, light, and the courage to stand together. And for the first time, Lyra believed she was not hunted anymore. She was home.